It's so great chatting with the former UFC champion Demetrious Johnson, who's got another mixed rules fight. I shouldn't say another. This is the first time he's had an opportunity like this. He's going to be fighting on December 5th against Rotang. Demetrious, how are you, sir?
I'm good. Thanks for having me, man.
Hey, it's good to talk to you. We're just talking about the miserable weather here in the Pacific Northwest, but what an exciting fight this is coming up here. Just your excitement level to have a unique opportunity to have a mixed rules fight, I think for the first time in your career.
Yeah, I'm super excited. You know, growing up watching Pride and Dream and seeing some of the mixed rule fights and, you know, the kind of fun fights they put on for the fans back in the day. And for me to say I've done one of those fights, it's going to be something I'm excited to talk about, you know, later in my life and to add on to my career.
I watched a lot of your other interviews leading into this. I know you've done a lot of media. A lot of people are excited. How's the feedback been? Because again, I think this is something that really caught people's attention with the fact that it's a mixed rules bout as opposed to just a regular fight.
The feedback's been phenomenal. Mm-hmm. You know, when I was in Singapore just recently, my buddy James Ying, he just fought over there. One champion said the feedback they got in this fight's been extremely great. The feedback from my own, you know, community, social media, been off the charts. So I think it's going to be the fans are in for a real treat, and they're very excited about this one.
I don't know if you watch tape or that's something your coach does, but where do you feel like fighters have struggled with him in the past in terms of some of his striking?
He's Iron Man, dude. He takes shots and he gives like 50 of them, and you know he's definitely one of the best pound for pound Muay Thai fighters in the world. The way he comes forward and just takes a shot and keeps on going, I think that's his greatest strength, is that he's very, very, very durable.
What type of camp have you had? Like, how are you sort of structuring camp leading into this? I know I don't believe Bibiano Fernandez, you can train with him because of the border issues, right?
Yeah, so you know, right now, I don't think I'll train Bibiano for this fight. And Bibiano is he's getting ready to fight against John Lineker, which he needs somebody who's going to stand and bang. I mean, that's John Lineker's greatest, you know, attribute. What he does is he's going to stand and bang. And the other biggest thing is the border. You know, I don't want him to risk coming down to me going up, and we get stuck in each other's country. Because who knows what's going to happen with COVID, you know? Mm-hmm. All it takes is like that, and now you're stuck. You know, it's another thing you have to worry about. So right now, the way we're structuring it, we're going to sit down and talk about it probably tomorrow. Just got to get everything figured out. You know, I'm already in shape, and it's the biggest thing is that we're not going to approach it like it's some like big thing. We're going to do what we've done in the past is be focused and be disciplined. And make sure we're in great shape and go out there, be sharp on the feet and sharp on the ground.
Who are you mainly working with for this camp as far as training partners?
So training partners, we brought a couple of new guys into the gym. We have a new kid named Bilal. He's really good on the feet, very long. We got Tyson. We got another guy named Chris. We have James. James just got back from start running his body heel. That way he's good for when he gets to call again. And you know, obviously Greg, who helps you with the stand up. So just the basic AMC team, Tony Sablam, and I mean, I could just go on and name everybody. But, you know, my camp is structured different than everybody else around the world because there's only 2 pro athletes in the gym. Everybody else, they do it because it's their passion. They love it to have day jobs. So for me, it's going to be just focused on what's going to make me be successful that night when I face Rotang.
It's something I don't know if you've been asked before, but I know you've had surgery in the past with injuries and things like that. How has your rehab changed over the years with those, you know, surgical repairs? Like, is that something as you get older, you have to pay a little bit more attention to?
1000%. It makes things totally different. You know, I've had surgery on both my shoulders, broken my right hand, broken the rib, broken the leg. So, you know, I try to pass my knowledge on to, you know, younger athletes in my gym, like James. You know, he had an injury, and I tell him, like, dude, like, take time off. Like, there's nothing in the gym that you're going to miss out on, right? And, you know, and I understand he's young and he hasn't really been established in his career yet. But for me, when I'm injured after my fights, I at least take at least 3 to 4 weeks off and come to the gym. Like, I've been grinding mixed martial arts since I've been 18 years old. Like, 5 days, 6 days a week, working distance, working every day. So being 35, I have other things on my plate, like my children. Yesterday, picked the kids up, we did schoolwork, cut their hair. Today, dropped them off at school, taking Maverick to the movies. I'm just super active in my children's life. That takes precedence over, training until I have a fight.
Yeah, no, that definitely makes sense. How do you see a fight like this playing out?
It's gonna be a great fight. I mean, Rockton's definitely tough. I think I'm tough too. And at the end of the day, I think the fans, one champion, are gonna win, and we're obviously gonna have a good time, challenge each other too.
Did you happen to catch the UFC 266 card that happened this past weekend?
I did.
What did you think of the main event? Pretty incredible fight with Volkanovski and Ortega, that third round especially, and then the fourth round with Ortega going to the corner. Just your thoughts on the fight?
Amazing fight. Those guys both showed heart. Alex Volkanovski is the real deal, man. For him being, a rugby player, being able to transition over to mixed martial arts. I think he's on a 25 win streak. Absolutely phenomenal. And Brian Ortega, such a tough athlete. He showed huge improvements from his last loss against Max Holloway. And for him, it's just going to come down. Like he's at the cream of the crop where he's just losing by, I mean, a lot of judges had it like 50-44 or whatnot. I didn't think the fight was blown away by that far. I felt like he won at least 2 rounds in there, but it's just those little things, man. And he's going to get better. He's still young. And, the biggest thing I would say is that he's just taking a lot of damage in the face, broken orbital again. Eventually it's going to, pay dividends in the long run. But other than that, it was an amazing fight.
One of the other things that came out of the fight was that fourth round going for, I think it was 4th to 5th, where Ortega actually had to be carried to his corner. Do you think the fight should have been stopped there? Some people felt like it should have.
No, I mean, it is what it is. He's probably exhausted. You get down and get your minute break. And he came back out of the round more refreshed. So he's exhausted. He's really pushing everything he's got to try to get that W. And, he came up short, but his stock has risen even higher. And, it was a great fight. I enjoyed every bit of it.
And the other fight that everyone's talking about is the Nick Diaz and Robbie Lawler fight. Just what did you make of that? And, in terms of Nick not being able to continue after the third round?
Yeah, I think, as you get older, you realize there's some things you're like, all right, I felt like when he took a knee, I was like, yeah, he's had enough. Like he had enough of what was going on. He broke his nose. I don't know if he broke his nose, but he got hit really hard in his nose. He goes, I'm good. I don't need to do this right now. And I totally respect him. A lot of people might look at him different, but hey, that's what's up. I'm happy that he was like, I'm good. I'm just going to chill and it is what it is.
Do you think more fighters should take that route, rather than taking unnecessary punishment?
It could be. Yeah. Why not? I mean, if a fighter said, hey, I'm getting beat. My orbital bone's broken. My right hand's broken. I got massive cuts, whatever it may be. It's going in the 5th round. I'm absolutely exhausted. I don't think I'm going to knock him out. I'm just going to call it. I'm just going to throw in the towel and save my brain for another day. I have no problem with that. Like, I feel like that's a logical answer. A lot of people might say, oh, he's a pussy, he's a bitch, da, da, da. But for me, I'm a grown man. I have children. I understand it. It's like, I've been in a hotel room after a fight and had vertigo, and the room was spinning from, just fighting. Like, it's not fun. It destroys your body, if you get beat up like that.
Sticking with the welterweight division, are you familiar with Khamzat Chimaev? This is the Wolf. He fought last year. He was knocking out everyone, and then he got COVID. He's been off for a while, but he's going to be fighting coming up here, I think, on the UFC 267 card at October 30th. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Yeah, he's great. It's mixed martial arts. Anything can happen. So far, what I've seen from him, very skillful, very talented, and he's got to stay healthy and stay focused and go out there and compete.
Are you familiar with who he's fighting? Li Jingliang. He's called the Leech. He knocked out Santiago Ponzinibbio. He fought Neil Magny. He's a fighter from Shanghai who Chimaev's fighting. Are you familiar with him at all?
I am not.
No worries. That's why I like the honesty there. Switching gears, the bantamweight division's been really interesting in the UFC. We just had, obviously, a switch up in the title fight. Petr Yan taking on Cory Sandhagen for the vacant title. Just your thoughts on that matchup of Cory getting the opportunity at a title coming off a loss to TJ Dillashaw.
It's going to be great. Cory Sandhagen did a good job against TJ Dillashaw. Obviously, if TJ was healthy, he would get that shot. And, obviously, in Aljamain Sterling. So it's going to kind of, make that bantamweight division a little interesting because let's say the winner of that is going to fight the winner of Aljamain Sterling. Then the winner of that's going to fight, probably TJ Dillashaw. So it's great. I'm happy that Cory Sandhagen is healthy enough to be able to take the opportunity.
Who would you favor in that fight between Sandhagen and Petr Yan?
It'll be different because Petr Yan has a very interesting style. He comes forward, great hands, great grappling. He's pretty much well-rounded, and so is Cory Sandhagen. Well-rounded, long for the division, a great jump in knees, great with timing. I mean, we'll see. It's definitely going to be a great fight.
Did you think Cory Sandhagen beat TJ Dillashaw? I don't know if you watched that fight.
No, I felt like TJ won. I felt, he made a comment because you can't just come forward and be a zombie, take all these shots. I'm like, well, as an athlete and being a shorter athlete fighting a taller guy, you're backing up. So he has to cross that distance. And in order for him to cross that distance, he's going to eat a couple shots. Because if he stays back and keeps distance like you are, then nothing's going to happen. So he's actually trying to go forward and engage in the fight. So, yes, TJ did his face look beat up, but he also has more scar tissue. He's been in a lot more wars than you have in his career. So, for me, that's how I looked at the fight. Like, when I sat there, I always look at the fight, and as I'm watching it, I give what my gut feels. Like, when I watch Christian Lee versus OK, in the last Class 1 championship, I felt like the Korean gentleman won. And everybody's like, well, he did this. And I was like, see, this is what's problem mixed martial arts. It's very subjective. Like, This is my opinion. Like, I'm not worried about, what your guys' opinion is. This is what I thought. You asked me what I thought, and this is what I thought happened. So, yeah.
No, that's interesting. And I mentioned it there, Aljamain Sterling, obviously a lot of tough luck here, injured, and now he can't take the fight. I know you had your thoughts on Sterling with what happened with Petr Yan. Do you not think they should have just made the title vacant? It was Jan's mistake. Sterling wins the belt. Everyone's calling him a fake champion. He has to get all this blowback. Do you think the right thing to do there would have made the title vacant, or do you think they made the right call awarding him the belt?
I mean, it's up to the organization. I mean, either way, you still have your champion as Aljamain Sterling. It is what it is. Like, it was a foul, and they're going to get a chance to run it back. So I really haven't thought that much into that part.
Do you think it was right to do an interim title for this fight as opposed? Some people are now saying that Aljamain should be stripped of the title.
No, I don't think he should be stripped. I mean, if he's legitimately injured, I mean, he was getting ready for the fight, and he can't. I think I didn't read why he's not ready for the fight, but I think they said he wasn't medically fit. So no, don't strip him. I mean, he's a champ.
No, I agree with that. And a former bantamweight, someone that I know you've sort of been linked to in the past, Cody Garbrandt is going to be moving down to your old weight class at 125. How do you think Cody will do in that weight class as he's moving down a little bit later in his career?
I mean, I'm sure he's going to do good, but I mean, sometimes going down to the lighter weight division isn't the key. You know what I mean? Like, I felt like the guys that he fought, yeah, they might be bigger, but size only plays a factor when you're getting out wrestled and out manhandled. Like, when I was fighting Dominic Cruz, there was a sheer size difference. Like, he was manhandling me, was suplexing me and whatnot. And he was also taller. I feel like for Cody, that wasn't the case when he fought Rob Font. I felt Rob Font was longer, and he was just, he was just on that night. He was just very consistent, and he was very good about using his jab and his reach. So, with Cody cutting 125, he's got to cut an extra 10 pounds. A lot of people don't think that's a lot, but it is when you're that shredded already, and he's going to lose 10 pounds more. So, and he's going to be dehydrated. So it's going to be a lot. We'll see what happens.
Something that's been in the news, I don't know if you heard, Jon Jones getting arrested last Friday. Just your reaction to that. I think a lot of people are kind of like, not again.
That's a shame. I want the best for him and his family, and I hope he's able to find help and get his life on a straight arrow. I know straight and arrow is born, but it's safe.
Yeah, and kind of on that same note, Conor McGregor's been getting in a lot of trouble with some of the stuff he's been tweeting out and stuff. I know you don't really pay attention to that, but just your thoughts on, him kind of, it seems like fans are kind of turning on him at this point.
What did he tweet out that got him in trouble?
Just because he was, doing threats to certain fighters. He's going after broadcasters. Him and Bisping got into it, and him and Cormier and stuff. And it just seems like, I know he's injured and obviously has some time in his hands, but it just seems like fans are, where fans used to find that stuff funny, I think now it's like kind of like he's making enemies with everyone.
I'm not worried about it. It's Twitter. Twitter gives everybody the power to say whatever they want, disrespect people without having to answer for it.
I agree. Yeah, it's super annoying. And then I don't know if you saw Dana White and Oscar De La Hoya going at it. That rivalry's been in there since when you were in the UFC. Because Oscar called him out on Fighter Pay. Just, did you see that? Did you notice them going back and forth?
I didn't see them going back and forth, but I just laugh. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. A lot of people have been saying that, you're one of the greatest fighters of all time. Khabib Nurmagomedov has been in that conversation as well. Where do you rate him as a fellow fighter?
He's one of the best to ever do it. Definitely at lightweight. The only thing I wish I would have seen from him is just more activity as a champion. He cleaned out the divisions, but I think as far as lightweight champions ever go, he's one of the best. I mean, he's the only guy who's ever retired 29-0. yeah, I mean, he was very, very skillful, the way he went about his fights and his competition.
Do you think title defenses should be in consideration when you're talking about the greatest of all time? You said greatest lightweight, so I'm assuming you would you put him in the greatest of all time as opposed to just greatest lightweight?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, everybody has their own kind of criteria for greatest of all time, right? Mm-hmm. And for me, I would like to see, he defended his belt once or twice, I think, right?
Yeah, I think it was twice. Yeah,
twice. And for him, he's like, what's the point of keep on fighting? He goes, I think he mentioned it. He was really good. He goes, it's like a prison. And I remember he was like, it's like fighting is like a prison. You show up every day and you have to do it all the time. And I respect that. Like when you think about it, fighting is kind of like the mindset. It's like a prison in your mind. So I can understand why he walked away from the sport at a young age, especially on top of the world. He has something else to prove. He's like, I can make money elsewhere. And he was like, so there's no point for me to fight. So, but yeah, I mean, I would say he's one of the greatest of all times to do mixed martial arts. And there's not a whole lot of guys who've fought every type of discipline. When he fought Edson Barboza, one of the best on the feet, took him down. When he fought Justin Gaethje, who's good on the feet, took him down. When he fought, guys who are great on the ground, he beat them up too. So, and he's been in the game for a very, very long time.
Did you watch Jake Paul and Tyron Woodley?
I did.
What did you think?
I thought Jake Paul won.
Okay. Yeah, I think, obviously the judges gave it to him as well. Does that interest you, seeing the YouTubers box these, MMA fighters? Is it something that appeals to you?
I mean, I watched it. Don't get me wrong. I watched it. And, once again, watching the fight, I know Tyron really had the best kind of shots in the fight that almost finished Jake Paul, but it's boxing, right? Mm-hmm. It's not an MMA fight. It's boxing. So, but yeah, it was a great fight. I enjoyed it, and I had a good time. It was very entertaining.
December 5th, you're going to cross off, mixed rules fight on your resume. Is there anything else you want to accomplish in your career that you haven't done yet?
Just keep on fighting, man. Just keep on fighting, being healthy, and be successful.
And something other sports related. You watching the Mariners? They might be making the playoffs for, I think, the 5th time since their inception. Is that getting you excited at all? I don't know if you're a baseball fan or not.
Watch baseball.
I like the honesty, though. That's good. What about the Kraken? I asked you last time about that. I didn't seem you were too interested.
I honestly don't watch sports.
Yeah.
I don't watch sports. Like when I have free time, I'll either work on my son's dirt bike, watch dirt bike videos, play video games, spend time with the wife, hang out with the kids, and that's it. Like for me to sit down and watch a sport is I got to be super intrigued to it.
Not even the Seahawks? Yeah, they're not doing so well right now, though.
Not even the Seahawks, man. Like,
wow. Okay.
I have a little time to myself, and when I get that time to myself, I want to play video games, or I want to watch dirt bike videos and learn and how to be better at riding dirt bikes.
When did you get into dirt biking? I didn't know about this.
This is because my son he got into it. It'll be a year in December, and he's gone through 3 bikes, and he's been He's done a little races, been riding, been taking lessons. And for me, it's something I get to spend time with him, sharing stuff, and it's become a passion of mine because how hard and how athletic you have to be to ride the motherfucking bikes. Yeah,
no, they're tough. And quickly before we go, what are you playing right now, video game wise?
New World. I just jumped into New World. It's a new MMO by Amazon. So far it's pretty good. The game just dropped like 4 days ago, and it's MMO, so I got to find time to grind in it.
Good stuff. I'm getting into Mario Golf on the Switch. That's like, you can tell I'm a dad because these are the type of games I get into, but highly recommended, except for the part where you have to there's like this part where you have to play speed golf and you burst and he makes this obnoxious noise. And like, even my wife will come in and be like, what is that? I'm like, I don't know. I can't do it. I can't turn it off. It's super annoying. So if you ever play Mario Golf, just keep that in mind. But Demetrious, thanks for doing this, man. I really appreciate it. Anyone you want to thank, any sponsors, any social media, I'll give you the last word.
Yeah, man. Thank you for obviously having me on your show, and thank you to all my teammates and my sponsors, Evolve MMA and also Quantum Bars. And other than that, man, don't miss the fight December 5th against me, Rod Tang. Special Rule Fights 1X 10-year anniversary. Don't miss it.